All right, looks like we are live and good to go this morning. So happy Wednesday to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Looks like we are
My name
live
is
and good
Jared.
to
This
go
is
this
Engineering
morning.
the
So
Markets, and it is May
happy
18th,
Wednesday to everybody.
2022.
Thank you so much for joining
So
me this morning.
looks like
we
S&Ps
are
opening
live.
up slightly lower from yesterday's overall trading. We did see some continuation of the bullish momentum. And if you recall, that was kind of a short-term thesis of the market based on the fact we weren't quite at target yet for the most recent bounce. Looking just at our S&P index expected move for the week, we still have a lot of maneuverability in this price range. For example, we're not quite yet at the 20 period, so this could be sort of your upper target for this bounce. We're also not necessarily testing lows at this point in time, um, but keep in mind that we are coming from an overextended breach and break last week. We saw a 2 times expected move. Usually that can facilitate a bit more of an overreach if we do have a reactionary low. And that's kind of the thesis for this week, looking for the market to recover some of last week's price activity. Another thing to keep in mind is we did close here on Friday. So, we closed basically at this mid range and we're already seeing a bit of a rally higher. So, thinking about sort of a starting point from last week, the rally above, and actually negating Monday's price activity, which may or may not have set up a pivot of the price action that, of course, has been negated at this time. So, short-term trade here in regards to the S&P. Wanted to show our relative target from yesterday getting met. And this is, of course, that trend line resistance that the S&P had defined in our most recent sell-off. You'll notice that this corresponds with swing highs on the steeper downtrend that the S&Ps took. And of course, it's not necessarily the main trend line. We do have quite a bit higher to go before that gets met. But looking at how the market can move in stages, you often will get steeper trend lines before you get something like your absolute trend line. That's where the market has changed trend initially versus the current downtrend that you're facing. So a lot of this market movement is just giving us a little bit of edge in regards to, should I be bullish or bearish on this session? Should I look for the right signals in regards to continuation or lack thereof? Should I be top fishing, bearish resistance? Those are some things that I think we weren't quite ready for yesterday. And while we did have a morning pullback, yesterday proved to be more of a back test, and that is coming into our inverse head and shoulder back test, defining that previous resistance as support. And then, of course, throughout the Fed, Jerome Powell Fed, I'll just say discussion, that provided some volatility, but it really didn't knock us away from the uptrend that had formed. So, first and foremost, the question now is, are we at target? Is this all the market's going to give us before we see more downside? I would say yes and no. It's definitely a good place if you were one of the aggressive bulls to consider taking some risk off the table, especially because even with some of the higher reactionary candles to these levels, the drawdown can be quite significant. If you're maybe going for a little bit more, then you need to anticipate the idea of a higher low. So far, the market has essentially just bounced for a couple of days, looking for that daily back test in some form, ideally to redefine one of our swing levels as previous support, or one of our previous breakdown levels as support, and then going from there into a more bullish posture. Now, as always, that is countering what the market has been giving us recently. And the idea is simple. If you're still bearish this market, this is the area to look for the similar rejection that we got in recent sell swings. This is where you should be spotting some sort of setup in regards to downside movement. Now, when I look across some of the other markets as well, they're not necessarily postured in a great place to go bearish. They haven't retraced enough after making this low, so you're almost stepping into an undefined amount of bullish momentum. You don't have your level of rejection. You also have a little bit more upside potential before you see potential rejection, just the width of your moving averages compared to price. So this is more or less why I'm looking a bit more bullish for the short term, just because our location is relatively poor for bearish continuation. Ideally, a market will provide that retracement, obviously look to reject again, and at the very least, you want to change your short-term trends back in the favor of the dominant trend, which in this case would be an hourly trend back in favor of the bears. Right now, the hourly uptrend in most indices is intact. We're actually looking at the morning drawdown coming back to maybe test some of the lows. And then, of course, more often than not, you get a range. That range will have to break bearish or bullish for any continuation or rejection. So yesterday we talked about some of those risk aspects of the market coming off slightly, things like interest rates, dollar, skew, which was one of our aspects that wasn't necessarily hinting at bullish behavior. We're still seeing very low readings in skew, and this was printed yesterday. So these readings come out once a day. So you really don't have to look at this once a day. Nothing will change mid-session. But we're seeing very low skew readings, indicative of more bearish posture in the market, along with volatility. So, the question is, are we continuing to see everything we discussed yesterday facilitate the move? Volatility has come off, but we are opening high. So our case right now is that maybe we've topped out short term. We'll look at some consolidated play today, and obviously a bit more back and forth style trade as we pull back down into some short-term support. And from there, setting up our next case of what's the next wave of movement. In this case, still looking a bit bullish in my opinion. So there's a couple of names that came out with earnings. I wanted to talk through, just the concept of posturing around these reactions. And first and foremost, we have Walmart. So Walmart did come out with earnings yesterday. The reaction itself was net bearish. Additionally, there was a lot of information in their earnings report pressuring this particular company's revenue streams in regards to not only consumer spending, but the types of operational costs that they're now incurring. A lot of it was kind of hinted towards driver cost, along with just storage. So those two combined together put some negative sentiment into the growth aspects of this company moving forward. And while their earnings weren't necessarily a complete miss, you'll notice that they did underreport on earnings per share. It was mostly kind of hidden in some of the operational costs that they're now starting to see, much more towards that inflation narrative in regards to things like gas costs. So, for the market itself and for trade, not knowing this information before, you would have had to be looking at the option market to get a sense of what the market was pricing. And while we are after the fact, we can do something like a think back operation where we look at Walmart and we'll look at it the day before earnings. Pull this down. Set that there. Okay. So On Monday's session, looking at Monday, we closed at about 148. So that's, end of day Monday. We're talking about a 148 close, 148.21. Market here is pricing about a $7 expected move. This is your normal earnings analysis. Walmart does have a good option market. And while this isn't necessarily a weekly series, it is the series that impacts with the earnings on the week. So $7 expected move. Market was looking at about 140 downside, and then of course maybe 155 upside. And that should have been reflected in some of the option pricing. For example, what you'll notice here is that before the earnings, 155 stood out like a sore thumb in regards to open interest. This is where people were playing the earnings and the expected move in regards to risk. Now, obviously, 150 stands out as well, psychological number, but it actually is not as high total in terms of volume and open interest. And if you move to 140, you'll notice a similar thing here. 141 specifically for volume, but 140 with sort of a balanced volume and open interest on the session. So definitely people playing that expected move. And then, of course, as the earnings come out, obviously we breached expected move. So we have gone at this point in time about 2.5 times what the market priced. And as you can see, this stock is still selling. It hasn't really found a floor quite yet. This is where your technical skills come into play and say, well, we did break our trading range. Our trading range was established here. We've had mild breaches here and there. This one, of course, being the one that's kind of on deck. And then, of course, lots of more confirmed upper and lower tests, especially our most recent one, which actually left a false expansion at the high. We actually had closure up here compared to some of these other touches, and this closure was rejected, similar to back in this time frame here. So very symmetric looking trading range, both in regards to the definition of the high and the low, and the fact that there is a false expansion at the bottom and a false expansion at the top. This is actually very clean in regards to the technical structure. And because of earnings right now, we need to anticipate the idea that this is our next target. Obviously, the momentum is helping that anticipation, but also for intraday trade today, do not be surprised if we see continual sell side as the market essentially tries to recover in price. Another thing you might want to do, and I'm back on the normal option series here, not the think back look and see where the open interest formed yesterday. Because after earnings, people are repositioning in regards to what has actually taken place. There is not necessarily a standout price, but there is some higher interest starting to form between 130 and 125. This is where we're pricing today. And if worse comes to worse, we get down to 125, look for those reactions to start forming. It's both a psychological price, a $5 price level, but it's also where a lot of the volume, from yesterday, the open interest, which is settled, starts to really taper off. The market typically doesn't want to transact much further until there are participants in those ranges. Market would much rather transact where there's higher open interest. So not necessarily a bull or bear call on Walmart today. Just understand that the momentum is still in the favor of bears. And while we're 2 to 3 times outside of expected move, these extremes can provide reversal opportunities if the conditions are met. So just be looking for it, along with if you're carrying a short position, look to where you're going to start taking profit. Now, the reason I went through all this is because we did have a similar stock report in regards to this morning. So we had Target today. And just like always, we're looking at what does the chart tell us? Well, the chart tells us that this stock has been notionally kind of weak overall. We've seen some waves of price activity, but big picture here, there is a trading range that was attempted to break. We came back inside. We're looking at maybe mid-value getting rejected, and we're coming back down. These weaker signals in regards to our upper trading range have led to, in this case, a setup that has fully formed in regards to earnings. Now, you'll also notice I've marked a downside level. This is a swing high on the uptrend that got back tested as support. It's also a fairly high volume back test coming from a previous earnings. So looking at these high impact levels and looking where we're trading today, we're talking about a stock that really has done the exact same thing in regards to expected move. 215 close, trading currently at 165. The option market only gave this stock about a $13 expected move on yesterday's close. And that can be seen, more clearly if you're pricing something like a 215 straddle. It's about $13 to $14 of price movement. So what the market said yesterday, and unfortunately they were wrong. Whenever the market is wrong, this is when you get the more extreme cases of price movement. And while the expected move was wrong, there was definitely some price activity down at 150. So even though this is way outside of expected move, someone or some participants had the foresight to sort of hedge down into the 150s, and their risk is located there. So obviously with Walmart still in a sell-off and with Target coming fresh out of earnings, do not be surprised if we see more downside here. And what that downside could be headed towards is that 150 print. So short of a 150 test, you also want to think about, okay, there's a bit of a, let's just say a set of 4-digit open interest here. And then while this is still populated, it's a bit smaller. So usually what you want to think here is when we get to 160, getting to 150 from 160 needs to be facilitated. We don't really have people trading there yet, both historically or even today. The option market's not open. And instead of thinking of it as, okay, well, we're just going to jam our way through 155, it's a lower liquidity zone. Lower liquidity zones do offer speed in regards to movement, but the market maker has to have an objective. In this case, 150 would be the objective. So, just thinking about the bearish case, and obviously the bullish case has to set up. We don't have a low yet. We basically don't have any price to anticipate off of. So these are all the cases for Target today, as it is still in a decline. Definitely be thinking maybe in $5 increments, along with maybe the $2.50 as more your mid-range defense. You're going to notice that a lot of earnings, every important price level tends to be a whole dollar number. So 165 was this low. The high of this range was approximately 170. And then now we're looking at 162.5. These stocks tend to move in whole $0.50 increments relative to their option strikes. So, because that's essentially where people played the earnings. Okay, so that's one stock that had its earnings. Just looking back, one stock that is amidst its earnings. And then we do have a stock that maybe hasn't fully reported yet. This is going to be Lowe's. We do have the numbers, but we haven't yet had the conference call. Once again, don't necessarily do anything special with Lowe's based on sentiment or anything else. Ask yourself, what did the option market expect? Where did we close? And what does that give us in terms of expected movement? A 194 close with a $12-ish expected move That's going to be approximately anywhere from 180 to 182 downside. And then, of course, upside probably closer to 206, something like that. Look at where the volume and open interest sits in the option market. Where were participants settling their risk? In this case, 210 is probably your highest open interest at the top side, and your highest open interest downside more likely to be at that 180. So these numbers are simply levels of interest due to where risk sits in the market. The great thing about markets is usually high risk areas of the market tend to get tested. And as day and short-term traders, we can set up movement towards those areas in order for the market to transact first, for us to obviously get our profit, and then to walk away from a trade if it turns or changes trend in those areas. So this is sort of short and sweet what's on deck today. And while we do have some other stocks in play from yesterday, there's quite a few nice bullish plays, both in the semiconductor space. We had AMD filling up a gap. This is a nuanced weekend gap that formed. It was a gap that also broke support. So this is a very important area for AMD to, in a sense, reclaim. We have also got our classic W reversal. In this case, it's a double bottom with a low that was a lack of follow through. This is a very powerful reversal structure, mostly because of this test. This test right here, very, very high impact. So AMD quite strong, filling up that gap yesterday, also getting back above 100 for the short term. We had some relative EV strength. You're looking at maybe a NIO or some of the Chinese automakers in regards to the Shanghai markets opening up strong yesterday. So outside of your retailers and some of your e-commerce conglomerates over in China, Baba is the classic. We had, I think JD actually had a fairly decent session. That one's actually reporting earnings as well. That actually came out yesterday. Interesting. I didn't know if JD had earnings. Outside of those, keep in mind that there's a lot of correlation in the EV names movement. We're talking about similar relative lows, these high volume lows that were set during sort of the reactionary bottoms of the China names. The upper thrust that occurred, the retest back into these levels, and then of course we're looking at just a retracement at this point in time. So the nuance of movement here is not really special to the EV names. They just have other short-term catalysts that can drive the intraday price movement. And then of course our mega cap with Tesla kind of providing our sentiment gauge. So kind of looking through Vindictive. Well, I said it once, AV software. I don't know if I've said it more than once, but all in all, this is pretty much all I have for today. It's kind of a shorter session. The reason being is, it is midweek. We've talked through, some concepts for the week. I think you're either in those trades, reacting to the trade, obviously kind of keeping abreast for any changes to that information. Calling out things like small caps once again. These are simply retracements in a downtrend. The thing that's really going to be key here is paying attention to when do bears step back into the market? What price levels do they reject from? And at that point in time, do you believe that they're going to break these lows? In my opinion, I think this low is going to be set for quite a while. Not necessarily as an absolute low, but one that's going to be transacted around for a while. We're not necessarily going to see follow through in our downtrend, Instead, we're going to see some more consolidated range-bound trading at some point. Obviously, I could be wrong, but a lot of the technical structure across markets indicates this information. For one, if you look at price extensions on things like your index products, most of our products got to that 200% retracement from their breakdown levels. The IWM is a little bit more classic because it was in a trading range, and therefore you can mark the highs and lows a little bit easier, even though there are some failed upper and lower tests. So, we're hitting those, doubling of the range. Usually the market's going to consolidate more than just be still trending. And of course, the setup there is if we do see consolidated price activity, the technical analysis actually kind of falls to the wayside. Instead of talking about, is this low going to break? Are we going to see a pullback to these levels? Consolidation turns into a big balance. Lots of highs and lows being tested and retested throughout a couple of intraday sessions, really just chop. And if that does occur, the analysis there, once again, just becomes less impactful. Instead, the short-term trade becomes more advantageous because you can react much more quickly to price swings, especially as new catalysts enter the market. So all in all, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it a little bit early today. Hopefully y'all have enjoyed this session. As always, trade safe. I'll be looking for some more nuance to bring tomorrow, but let's just say short term, not too much on deck. Maybe last and not least, oil markets, natural gas markets still very strong. Kind of keep these in the back of your mind, and look to see if there is some relative strength today in energy, which we've seen for most of the week. So continuation of theme along with the sort of bounce reversal thesis for the markets. All right, so take care, and I'll talk with you all tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had an incredible day yesterday. So happy Wednesday to you all. Let's take a look at some of the stuff we have here on deck, guys, starting with our gappers list this morning. We're seeing a couple of things in the red. Target leading the way down 24%. They had earnings. Was it last night or this morning? I don't recall. I know it was earnings that's causing that today. Let's see here. When was that? I'm taking a look at over
This
at
morning.
our this morning. All right. Good morning, Norm. All right. So this morning,
Good morning.
so they're taking a bit of a hit here, down 20% roughly, and obviously not doing so well. So they're leading the way on our gap down list this morning. We'll look into that and some other names on here as well. A from UPST, I believe this is Roblox. So yeah, should be interesting on what's gapping down today, and a couple of things on the upside this morning, but not a whole lot of tickers. Not a whole lot of tickers. We look at some of these, we know they don't trade very well. So it should be an interesting morning, to say the least. Let's take a look at some of the stuff we had on deck yesterday, guys. Starting with Twitter, was leading the way here. So let's get Twitter. Let's get our 5 minute. Well, not leading the way, but they were on top of our list at least. Let's go ahead and look at our action from yesterday, which would be right here. Yeah, this is it right there. So here's our action on Twitter. A rough start. You did get a little pop here, 40 cents there, another 40 cents followed through. But then from there, just kind of overlapped the previous candle. And then here just got very, very choppy. No clear direction at all in this area. So it took about a couple of hours, noon time frame. You do start getting into some really good trading here on Twitter. You did get a breakout over to the high of the pre-market, and then a nice continuation, guys. Just look how this thing traded, broke out of that pretty nicely, and just traded very well towards the top side there on Twitter. Oxy was one that didn't have a great day as it did the day before, right? It had an incredible breakout, but it did sell off pretty nice. A couple of plays you could have done here very early on. It started selling right before the bell, which again, an indication of weakness right in this candle here, and then the follow through with a beautiful pullback. If you were taking this for a short, that could have been a great entry. And if you missed that one, you got some other opportunities as well right in this area here. So as close as possible to the VWAP, another great entry for a short. And you got the continuation as well if you got in anywhere in that area. Does recover back very aggressively. No double bottom here, just straight change in direction on an engulfing pattern, and then again gets choppy within this area. For the most part, doesn't trade well until later parts of the day. So not a whole lot going on there. It looks like it traded better towards the downside too. Every time it sold off, it looks like the runs were a lot cleaner at least, right? So didn't really want to have any business going north, looks like. Here's JD, guys. And normally, as we mentioned, we don't keep this one on deck, but yesterday we knew it had an opportunity to trade very well. And guess what? It did just that. So right here, you can see the rejection of 56.45. It had a huge gap up, gave it all back, and then some. I think the previous day close yesterday was here. Not I think, I know it was there. So it came down, goes into the red right after gapping up so nicely, and is able to recover. I think it finished the day about up 4%. But man, what a drop! Losing, I think it was like 12% or so that it was up. Lost all that and came back. So again, beautiful short there. Good opportunities for an entry. Nice ABCD reverse pattern there, and then just goes flat for the majority of the afternoon and mid morning there. Here's Neo. It's just incredible. This was actually my trade here on Neo. I got in not as early as Andrew, but I got in on Andrew's ad. Andrew had an ad right around here. That turned out pretty nice. Look at the continuation you got there. Didn't stick around for the entire move there. Got impatient around here, so it's all out by then. But man, what an incredible move. The real trade would have been here, guys. And we talk about this, getting in at the breakout at these levels. And that was one right there, breakout of the pre-market high. Traded amazing. Again, if you're waiting for a 5 minute, you got very extended. You had to kind of wait for this pullback here. Gives you another breakout here as well towards the high of the day after pulling back a little bit aggressive. And then you can see there, it's just flat for the most part towards the end of the day. So Neo had a big day yesterday, big start. AMD here AMD was tricky. It was very tricky. You had to have a good entry early on. There was a lot of choppiness in the morning, as you can see. This 99.79 level, I'm not sure we got this from, probably off the daily, was tough for it to get above. Every time it tried, it got some serious rejection. You did get a pop, but the rejection was there for sure. They tried once, twice. The third time still was not the charm, but then the fourth time here, you get the breakout and you actually stick to it. So hit the high of the day, beautiful pop there, and you can see how well that traded on AMD. So we'll see today. Already got some decent volume on AMD. Walmart, as you guys know, had a huge drop. I mean, this thing sold off very aggressively in the pre-market. I did not think it was going to sell off any more than what it already had done. I was actually looking to take a short anyways, but the price action here was a little bit questionable. The way that the price was moving up and down, it just seemed like it could have squeezed at any minute. So it was not worth the risk taking a short there. But I was definitely short bias on this one, and it did end up turning out to be a really nice short, guys.
Biggest single day percentage drop on Walmart since 1987 when the market crashed.
Wow, did not know that. Did not know that. It makes sense, man. I mean, that pre-market drop plus the continuation. I mean, wow, that is aggressive. So again,
For something
Walmart,
that doesn't move very much, that was a huge drop.
you're right. It doesn't. Walmart barely moves, but yes, they obviously taking a hit. All right, that's what we had, guys, and we had some other ones too that were active, but we had a pretty decent list yesterday. Turned out pretty good. All right. Well, with that said, let's take a look at the overall market and what's happening with the Qs and the SPY.
Yeah, as I mentioned yesterday morning, market trying to put in its first green week since March. We'll see if that happens. It was up quite a bit yesterday. Pulled back this morning. We did have housing starts and building permits come out right as we were coming on. Both actually turned negative for April compared to positive numbers previously. So, see if that has any bearing on the market. We were kind of raising back up and pulled back a little bit, but I don't know if that's the main factor of that. It was actually starting a few minutes before. So, we've got the Philly Fed president speaking at 4:00. Obviously, that's the closing bell. So, doesn't affect a whole lot of us. Still, we're at the tail end of earnings season here with retail earnings coming in. That's that Target drop this morning. We'll get into it. I mean, that was kind of the writing was on the wall on that. Their main competitor is Walmart, who got hit yesterday. They've got very similar business models. So they were off yesterday on a sympathy move, and now they're getting their own beat down. Almost a quarter of their share price being shaved this morning. So
yeah, they are definitely not having fun. Again, yesterday they had a little bit of sell-off here. So, but man, look at this here. Wow. Just getting destroyed, guys. Down 24%. That'll be on our list for sure. All right, guys, let's get to it. Guys, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it. Also, thank you, Jared, for taking us through the engineering the markets every morning. We appreciate that very much. I'm going to make some rows in here on our watch list, and we are all set. Let's take a look at this low flow we have on deck out here. DPSI, again, just not looking good. No, horrible volume. This is pure garbage, guys. Nothing to see here. You got this pop here. It comes right back down. Just no volume here. Sitting on the American Stock Exchange. There's nothing we want to do with this here. So let's move on to something else. Let's look at MX. MX this morning is not looking so hot neither. They're up 12.5. I do like that pop. 193,000 shares traded. But yeah, I don't see another one. Sack attack. That's your favorite. Hotkey will do it again because this one also is looking like garbage as well, this MX thing here. So I don't like the way that looks at all. Let's go to TJ Maxx, TJX here. So this one is up 5%. Wow, interesting. So a lot of these retail companies getting a hit, but these guys are up. So
well, they reported this morning, and their forecast, they cut their forecast. I'm a little surprised they're up the way they are. There must be something in that I'm missing. But it doesn't surprise me to a degree when you consider the business segment they're in. If inflation's hitting people, maybe buyers are shifting from more expensive options to go that direction. That's possibly without digging into the report too deep.
Yeah, that makes sense. So guys are getting a little bit of a pop here. Okay, volume. My issue with them is going to be the spread. Even at the market open, they tend not to get great volume. But we'll see. Today could be a whole different story. So I'm going to add them. I'm still not going to put them on my main list. I still will add them as a possible because I hope to find something better than TJX this morning. Here's ZIM. So ZIM this morning almost says Z. Oh my God. ZIM for our friends over in Canada, up 4%, 497,000 this morning. Man, this doesn't look good at all. I think we looked at this in the past. I don't think we
They had
actually.
earnings this morning. This is
Yeah,
a Israeli
yeah,
shipping company. Not a great trader.
yeah. Now that you mentioned that, yeah, I remember the ticker now. Yeah, it's not great, guys. I'm gonna skip on this one for now. EQRN this morning, another one that's always on our gappers list. Up and down. I know they're foreign as well. And it's again, it's pre-market. We're up 3.1, 124,000, very light on volume, and they don't trade heavy volume at all. So again, I'm not a big fan of this one. I'd rather have less on my list than put this stuff on there. So I'm not even gonna put this as a possible, guys. It's just that bad for me. That's what I think personally. As he was gapping down, guys, of course, leading the way here, Target down 24%. And we'll have to see how they're going to be at the market open. I really thought that Walmart yesterday was not going to sell off as much, and it did. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Target because their drop is, again, also very aggressive here. Maybe they accounted for some of that action, that could happen in the intraday. Who knows? But definitely in play, guys. 2.5 million shares traded, down 24%, and looking rather weak this morning. So definitely on there. Docs, DOCS. What is this? We're down
They had earnings
12%.
last night.
All right, and 395,000. The daily light on volume. Besides yesterday, we're seeing a little bit of an increase in volume there in the last couple of days. Not sure. I don't know how this trades. So you know what? Let's get more information on it. Let's wait for it to develop a little bit more. We'll put docs on here for now. UPST, a little bit of a short interest here going on, 27%. It is down 7.1 this morning, and we know this thing was down quite a bit a few days ago. Right now, us 170,000 shares traded, trying to climb out of this drop that it had again on the 10th. So we'll have to see how it goes. UPST, excuse me, UPST. We'll put as a paso for now. Macy's. Macy's had earnings too, or no? What's the deal with these guys? They're down 6.6.
No, they did not have, or they did not. Well, did they? Because my date's wrong, but I've got news that says maybe they did. So no, they have not yet had earnings.
Okay. So maybe it's just kind of reacting to all these retailers reporting. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, they're down 7% today. So interesting there. Let's see how Macy's reacts. It might be more of a sympathy type play where, seeing Target. I mean, I know that a little bit different of sales there. Target, Walmart, all these other retailers taking a hit. Let's see how that reacts today. OTRA low flow at 8.4 million, not looking great. Needs more volume. Horrible daily. Let's move on to ACRE. Ooh, not getting any better. Let's move on down to cost. This is Costco. So Costco also taking a bit of a drop here. So I guess as these companies are reporting, right, you're kind of starting to see where the trend is happening. A lot of sympathy moves. I mean, Costco does not report into the 26th, but they're already starting to see, okay, we know what's coming. If the big guys are also getting killed, we know what's coming here. So they're down 5.5, light volume. Again, another sympathy play. Here's what I'm assuming. Here is Lowe's also down slightly. And they are reporting. They reported today. So they're down 4%. I'm going to add Lowe's here as well. The only reason it's on here is going to get the volume probably at the market open, but they don't trade well, man. They just, even on earnings, they're not like a Walmart where you can take an opportunity on Walmart on earnings. Maybe today, but man, they're just very light on volume, which is not good for us. All right, I'm going to do the next two, and then we'll take it to room A firm this morning. They're down 3.1. Not a whole lot of volume on there this morning. And then we have Roblox, which Roblox has put in a couple of really decent days. It's not a great trader, but the last couple of days, a few days here in May, we've seen an increase in activity and some really wide bars there, and increase obviously in volume. So could be interesting. Right now, their pre-market action though does not have it going on, but I like this for a possible today. Hopefully, they can get the volume and get moving. But right now, they need some help there at the moment. I'm just gonna skim through, see if there's anything worth adding to our list. I see the regulars on here: AMD, Nvidia, JD, Baba, and Tesla. So I will wait for you guys to call those out if you guys like them this morning. Norm, anything you like on your end today?
Oh man, I'm still under the weather, so
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So someone's asking what is up with TJX. I think TJX is I don't think they yeah, they had earnings pre-market this morning, so yeah, they're gapping up on earnings. Yeah, that's what's
what's
going
weird
on.
is they don't have it scheduled on any of my. Oh, yeah, TJX was earnings this morning, but
Yeah, TJX. What?
they
Yeah,
came in
yeah.
more mixed than it seemed to get that pop.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. I guess they're happy wasn't a Walmart type or what's the other one, Target type report, right? I guess they're happy with just mediocre stuff at this point.
I guess.
Um, and all right, let's take it to the room, guys. So, and then there's some other ones here, like Macy's, guys, are just lows. Some other ones here, not lows, but Macy's that are moving in sympathy that really don't have news, but they know it's coming. Costco is another one of those as well. Let's take it to our chat room. See what you guys like this morning that we might have not looked at already. Jason, you have Oxy, AMD, and Neo, all three, which we don't have, which we do like to trade. Oxy gapped up yesterday, but then sold off. Right today, they're up another 1.3. Again, just trying to stay above this ranges that they made. Right, they broke out nice out of 55, creating some kind of support here on 67. Yeah, Oxy could be a good one. Let's take a look at Oxy today. See if they're going to hold here and be strong. AMD, of course, we'll be watching AMD. They got good volume today, 704 to start the morning, down 2%. So again, giving a little bit back from yesterday's gains. And Neo had explosive action yesterday. So will be interesting today as well. Yeah, I like Neo. 1 million so far as volume, and we're slamming against this area of support that can now become resistance. If we can break out of that, we got some nice room to run here. So Neo, I like those three. Thank you so much there. Carlo N-E Carlone. I'm not sure. You changed your name. I don't think that was your name. Let's see here. Baba this morning. No, it's got the volume though. Pre-market is not great. A couple of block trades looks like it's so yeah. I'm not liking it as much right now. I think I'm gonna skip on it for the most part. Neo we have on deck. AMC. I don't think AMC has been in play in quite some time. Yeah, you're getting a couple of market movements here, but outside of that, I don't think they've been all that good. The volume starting to die down a little bit as well on the daily. We had this little ramp up here as it was selling off, right? An explosive day on the 12th. Who knows? Maybe they're setting up for a possible squeeze, but we need our friends to get this going before it comes in play, I think. Um, what is your reasoning for adding UPST? Just curious. UPST, I'm not a big fan, but I've seen you guys take good trades on this one. So I have it here as a possible. I think they have some potential. They have, and what I like about them too is this gap, right? This is an aggressive gap down, and they're trying to climb out of it, looks like. So you do have a lot of room to run towards the top here. You saw a little bit of that yesterday. If they can't get above this previous day close, there's some room to run here. It's going to start taking some people that might be short out of their position. And, stocks tend to overreact a little bit on these gap downs. It might want to close this gap. Who knows? Right? It's not sticking around here and just going down like it did on Netflix, right? Netflix had a big gap down and the weakness just continued. This one is trying to actually get going here. A couple of days here in the green. I don't have it as a main list because it is not I'm not a big fan of it. I think it can trade a little bit choppy at times, but that's my reasoning for it. Baba, we looked at AMD is good, Neo is good, Nvidia. Let's take a look at our buddy Nvidia. I think Nvidia like Apple, another one that you can keep an eye on. Down 2% this morning.
I know these had the pop yesterday. There was a semiconductor ticker that doesn't trade well, so it's not really worth mentioning on its own.
Yeah.
That's ADI, Analog Devices. But they had earnings this morning, and they just blew out earnings. They also talked about strong demand, and there's been a really, really bad situation with supply chain issues in that space that's hit some of these.
Yeah.
So that that might do something. They're up. ADI is up, I think 2% ish, but I mean the volume's terrible. It's not even worth looking at. But their comments on the space might
help things a little bit.
Who knows?
I have AMD on here, guys, and I have Nvidia. Let's see how that plays. Obviously, they had a big day yesterday, especially AMD did a nice move there. Let's see if that's going to continue with that news today. Heading down over to Facebook. Dropping here down 1.7. Interesting. Not a whole lot of volume, but I see what you're looking at. This drop is starting to pick up now. Let's see where that's gonna go. I'm gonna put them as a possible for now. I know I have a lot on here, but we'll make sure to clean that up before we end the show. Apple, another one that you can look at as well. I think this will be a good one to keep an eye on, as it always is when the market is pushing in one direction. That will be fun to watch. VREU, I know they popped up a few days ago. Oh, yesterday they ran pretty nice here, guys. I missed this. Look at that. So they're back above 15 here. I know they have some positive news. Yeah, this could be a good one. This could be a good one for today. Um, VERU. I don't think they're not low flow, but you got to be very careful. So I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna put them here on a risky pile. I think they are looking very good. The fact that they're back at this 15 area, couple of breakouts here could be very nice this morning if they can stay in the green. They got decent volume, and you got some potential to hit that 18. So yeah, this is good for them. This is real good. They have a horrible daily because again, they're coming from not being traded at all to actually getting some activity. So things are a little bit all over the place. I mean, they went from $5 to $14, and they're trying to stay above in the double digits. So that's not easy to do, but looks like their catalyst is working for them. Um, so we'll see how that plays out. Here is Baba we looked at. Not a big fan today. Big volume. It's a couple of block trades. So this 1.1 million, you're not seeing it here. This is a couple of block trades. So I won't really put too much weight on that volume unless you start seeing it here on the pre-market. Um, Facebook, Tesla. We looked at Facebook. I have it on as a possible for now. It's starting to drop. We'll see where that goes. Here's Tesla. Tesla getting a little bit of a hit, down 2.2. What's the overall market doing? We're down slightly. Yeah, so the market's starting to sell off here. Um, that's what's causing some of these drops that we were not seeing before. A lot of these things are going to start coming up here above that 2%. So not really heavily in play. I got a couple of tickers that are going to follow the SPY. You got Apple, we have Nvidia. Tesla is one that will follow the SPY. We can add Tesla, and they actually follow the market very aggressively. So yeah, that's a good one depending how the market is going to continue here. All right, guys, we'll stop here because the list is just going to get bigger as the market drops here. Let's see what the SPY and the Qs want to do now. We're heading down to that 404, and our Qs, how are Qs doing? That's still following suit. Has any news broken out? Do we have anything going on? It seems like an increase in volume towards the downside the last couple of minutes. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
I'm not seeing anything like overall earth shattering. I think we're just, it's what the market's been. We've had a few days where it's gained a little bit of strength, and maybe it's saying, no, that's enough. This isn't really going to rally.
Yeah. A lot of red.
We'll have to see how the day plays out, though.
Yeah. Jared mentioned that his take on it is that we might be getting some sideways action, which I kind of agree with as well. But we'll see. I don't think we're just going to go from here to all-time highs. I know Artie would love that so he can shave his beard, but that's not going to happen, Artie. We're going to hang around here until your beard looks longer than mine.
Artie messed up. I tried to warn him.
He did a bad bet here, and I'm watching his videos. We got to make sure he doesn't shave, guys. Yesterday his beard looked very fresh, like he got a shave or something. I'm sure he doesn't cut it down. All right, playtime here. CSCO. That's Cisco. Again, unless they have any catalysts, I usually don't watch this one. They don't trail that well, and I'm not seeing no volume, guys. 17,000 is not enough for us. So that means they're not in play. They don't have much going on. With the semiconductor stuff, that news might play well with them, and that you might see a little bit of activity. But for the most part, this is not what we're looking for. We need more volume. Actually, we have on deck, I believe, yes, we do. They're on here already up 1.2. They've been fun to watch and trade. AZN. Is this
AstraZeneca?
Yeah, they don't trade well.
It usually trades very poorly. Foreign stock.
Careful on this one, guys. I know it looks good down 2.1 as far as the gap down here. It still needs more volume though. The spread is tight, not bad, but again, the action on this could be rough at times. Dave Smith, you're giving us ILPT. Ooh, no. You look. I see you. Yeah. Okay. Double bottom. You're looking at the daily, but pre-market action, man. This is a no. We're 2,000 shares. Somebody made a mistake there.
A REIT, and it usually trades 540,000 shares a day on average.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah, look at down here. This is brutal. So yeah, for long-term plays, yes, but intraday plays, no. Yes, CFC. No, for sure. All right, guys, we're all set here. VRU is moving. Yeah, VRU is looking good, guys. There's some good opportunities on this one. Definitely on the list. Let's get over to our community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list, guys. A lot to watch this morning.
All right, skip through that. Just a reminder, technology webinars every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern after the onboarding session. Peter's webinar should be posted next week. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Let's go to the webinars page and just show everybody that and remind, instead of going through this, let's do that today. Carlos, can you go to the, there we go. So if you're ever curious, just go to bearbulltraders.com and then up at the top, click that webinars. You can see our upcoming schedule. A couple things, Mike's away, so we're trying to, click that, and you can scroll down and see what we've got scheduled for the next couple of weeks. So strategy next week, there's still a glitch in there. It's Jared. I don't know. Jared, you want to let me know what you're talking about next? That one is right. Okay. Well-rounded trader, learning how the markets work, so cycles and such in the market. The next week, following week, trend trading with Eamon, 5 p.m. Eastern on the 31st. Psychology, Andrew's doing psychology tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, just talking about his journey psychologically as a trader. And then next week, Randy Howell, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about building a winning trading psychology mindset. Don't forget about mentorship on Thursday, 11 a.m., 4 p.m., and 8. That's Rafzilla. I like your title. How to laugh off a $20,000 loss. StockTradingSimulator.com. It's our free web-based trading simulator. Go there to check it out. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, go to bearbulltraders.com and scroll down about halfway down the homepage. You'll see the membership table. Click it. The intro membership, 7 calendar days, 5 trading days. You can use the promo code PreMarket24 to get a discount on that.
All right. Thank you, Norm. I appreciate that. All right. Perfect. Let's get to it, guys. Let's get some levels in here. But before we do that, let's fine tune this secondary list because we got way too much on here. So we have Tesla. We know Tesla is going to be following the SPY, which is doing that right now. As we're looking at the SPY, it's just continuing to fall off here. So yeah, we'll be looking at that. Tesla is a good one when the SPY is moving the way it is right now and the way it has been the last couple of months, really. Lowe's had earnings, right? I believe they're not great though. I might end up taking them off. Yeah, pre-market earnings today. I'm on the fence. I know they can possibly get a drop here, but for the most part, they are just not the best intraday trader trading stock. TJX looking good here, getting a nice little pop this morning. Docs is okay. UPST. I got to get picky. Macy's here. No. Roblox. Okay, that's a good one to remove. Let's get rid of Roblox. Nvidia. See, it's hard to get rid of these when the SPY is dropping. So Nvidia, Facebook, you can. I'm gonna get rid of Facebook because I think there's a lot of stuff is gonna be dropping as we're moving down here on the market. Nvidia is a good one. I like that one. Macy's, I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna take it off because I think that there's gonna be some better ones that can move a little bit more aggressive. UPST. I'm on the fence on. Let's see there. Docs is heading, trying to head green there. I think this looks a little bit better. I think I still can do more to chop this up, but I think it looks a little bit better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can move one more up here. I think it's going to be Tesla. Tesla or Nvidia, I think can both fill up that last spot we have here. TJX, although it's up here, it can be very spotty at times. So I'm concerned with having that there. But I do like the fact that they're in the green though. Opposed to everything that looks to be slightly red. You know what? Let's take a chance. Hopefully this is the sleeper today, and this is the one that trades amazing. But yeah, it doesn't have a great history. But here, I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I'm seeing. I like the way he's sitting on the daily as well, hitting an area of support also. Yeah, let's see. Hopefully that's the one today. All right, let's go start with some levels here. Target, guys, just getting destroyed. We have a level here at 161.90. So we're going to slam a level right around there, 161.92. Towards the left here, we got a couple of things. Last time we were anywhere close here was in February, 184. Have a nice area right on there with a nice little pop, so that's good. Let's head more to the left. When was the last time we've been here, man? What a drop on Target and Walmart. As Norm mentioned, on for Walmart, one of the biggest drops in like their history or something. Target, man, we're going back to 2020 on August or October, November. So right in this area, we see some levels here. On the daily towards the top, we're looking at 167.50. Up here, another level 181. And then here you have a consolidation area 172, right? So right in here, 172, you got something going on there. That's good enough for us to mark down. Towards the bottom, major level at a 154. That's good there. And then in between here, this is not a huge level, but you do have a little bit of activity as well here, and here as well. Tons of it actually in this area. That's 158.40. And then below that 154. 94 might actually be 155. I think we're all set there on Target, guys. Again, tons of stuff with this one dropping here. And look at some of these drops are correlating well with the pre-market activity, like this 167.50. That's the big one there. You can see the action there already. And then you got this area where you have 184, 181. Got a little bit of hesitation happening there. That could be something, especially at 181 right there, as we're getting close to the close of that candle and the start of this candle there. So that looks good. That is Target, guys. Our highs and lows are not even in the charts at the moment, but they're all the way up here around 210 to 20. I mean, just a big drop for them, down 24% now, and continuing, looks like. Here's Oxy. So Oxy trying to create a new range. We were stuck in this one for some time, guys. It's back and forth, back and forth. Finally, yesterday we broke out of it and we maintained it, right? Usually the last few breakouts we have had, we came right back down to reality here. But this time looks like we are trying to hold. Let's get rid of some of the levels here so we clean this up. Your highs and lows of the last 2 trading days doing an amazing job. I don't think you need to do anything else. Do we have anything above here on the... I know we have to go really far back, so we might have to go to like a weekly here. There we go. Weekly back 2018, July. Let's zoom in here and we're going to mark this down. 72.40 is good. And we also have 75.83 as well. So 2 good levels there towards the top. Again, that's a stretch. 75.83, that's a stretch. 72.40, not so much. This thing can move very well. If we have another move like it did yesterday, I don't expect that to happen today. Usually don't get that type of huge continuation, but man, the way this market has been, anything is possible. So we'll have to see. Let's get back to our daily here on Oxy and take a look on how that looks. Yeah, looks pretty good there. And now it's down the way up, guys. Look at the whole dollar number, 70, 69. Those are all going to be important as we move up there. Let's head down to AMD. So AMD, big couple of days, guys. We're getting a little bit of a bounce here. If you guys remember AMD, we mentioned that AMD did not want to go below this 84. Even when the market was selling off, it was trying really hard to stay above it. It was not having any of it. I think AMD wants to head higher. Obviously, if it was not because of the market pushing it down, I think that AMD would have been well above 100 by now, well above 100. But obviously, the market has other plans for it. 84.51, 89.91, good levels towards the bottom, below the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. But look at the run we had in the last couple of days. So doing pretty good there, trying to change things and head north. Low of the pre-market, 111 cents, right? So 111 cents there. High of the pre-market, pretty much where the previous day close is. This dotted black line here, that's your previous day close line. You do not need to really add a pre-market high there. Above that, you have yesterday's high on this candle here, so that's good. If you go back to this area, you're going to find a couple of key levels. This one, 106, obviously has a little bit more weight to it. Got a couple of days bouncing off of that. The more touches on our level, obviously, the better it's going to be. You do have 2 days on here. You can mark this if you like as well. This is going to be 105, so yeah, throw a level on there. But the big level here is that 106. That's what we hope to get to if we do get a nice little breakout on AMD today. Slightly down this morning, 2%, but again, they had such a big run. You are going to expect some pullbacks. Look what happened here too. We had a nice big run. We had a pullback, and the next following day we managed to get going. So let's see what AMD has for us today. Market is selling down here, getting a little bit of a pop. Let's see if that's going to change the way AMD is trading this morning. So they're trying to hold here. Let's see if that's going to change things. Neo, 1.1 million shares traded. And again, good day yesterday as well. Great volume. When Neo is trading this type of volume, it could be very interesting. Now, some of that here I see is a block trade because I'm not seeing all that volume there. So I'm not sure how much of that is going to actually affect the stock here. Low of the pre-market 1625. The high of the pre-market slightly above some of the previous day close levels at over at 1685. And then you just have this major support area here on Neo around this, what is this, 1666, right? Just major support. We're just kind of hanging out right on there. We can go either way on this one today. So hopefully the volume comes in, we pick a direction and get some good movements. Yesterday did very, very well, guys. Very explosive at the market open. That 5-minute got going really quickly. Let's see if we're going to have that type of energy today on Neo. Heading over to, and then towards the bottom, I don't need to mention it. You're pretty much taken care of there. Heading over to Apple this morning. Apple right now, just again, great volume so far. A great activity in the pre-market at the moment. We are just playing with the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, guys. We're just kind of bouncing back and forth here. I don't think you need to add any levels within this area. I think you are set. Outside of this area, in case we do get going, obviously 138.91 is the level. You're going to have another one here around 143, looks like it's the low of this day, and probably the close and opening of this day here. Towards the top, if we are able to break out, this daily not looking so clean. Let's zoom out here. Okay, so clear level here at 155. Obviously, you got this one here. This is not a major level. It's 151. I don't see a lot of support happening there. You got a little bit here. Maybe this is a big one there, of course, but the big one I think is going to be this one right over here, 155.35. As far as the top side. So we'll see. Right now, looking to continue towards the red at the moment, down 1.6. With some okay volume. Here is TJX. So right now, you know what? I'm not sure about this one, guys. The more I look at it, it reminds me of how bad it can trade. Let's take a look at our secondary list. Tesla, Lowe's, Docs, UPST, Nvidia is obviously going to look good, and VRU's looking nice this morning, very active. Yeah, you know what? Let's see. I'm not convinced on this one. We'll do levels for it, but I'm really not convinced if this one should stay here. High of the pre-market, we're looking at 59.79. The lowest all the way down at 52.33. In the middle, you got tons of stuff here. Highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. You can mark down this one here, 57.59. Not a big level, right? The big one is over here, the previous day close, and obviously down here as well. But just mark that down, 57.59. We'll see how that plays out. In the pre-market, though, you are seeing a little bit of resistance happening there as we try to get above that. It struggled a little bit. You can see the rejection happening here with these wicks. Eventually was able to break out. You got the nice little pop there. So let's see how that goes. Volume actually 720,000 for TJX. It's actually really good volume. That's not bad at all. Look at this 59.79, 74. Excellent level of support that can now become resistance on this stock. You also see another level right around here, guys. You draw a line. It's going to be 61.25 right on this. So let's mark that down, 61.25 or maybe 45, a little bit higher. That's going to be good there as well. So we'll keep a note of that. So we're set on TJX. Let's see. Again, I'm really on the fence. But I'm curious to see how this thing is going to trade today. I think it has some potential, and hopefully it'll surprise us and it'll give us some good opportunity. The spread not bad for the type of stock that this is in the pre-market. So hopefully that only gets better at the market open. Up 5.3, 721,000. Yeah, I like it so far. I'm gonna try not to have a bias on how bad it trades at times. Cause there are pretty large ads sitting at 72 and 75 just the other day. And this will be, Jason, you're talking about, what stock do we have? You must be talking about Oxy, right? That's the one that's at $68 here. So if you are, yeah, I do. I can see that. I can see that on Oxy, man. Oxy looks good. Looks good, guys. Breaking out of this range here with a good follow through the last couple of days. It definitely looks good. Looking forward to it. We might get a pullback or some sideways action on it, but definitely I like the way Oxy trades and just how much volume it gets. It gets some really decent volume right out of the gates. All right, guys, we're looking good here. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup. Nothing yet. Just have Thor. He's looking at the SPY, Baba, and Low. Steam is coming in with her list. We'll give our moderators a couple of minutes to put that together. Anything you guys like this morning that maybe is not on this list, we can get into that. Or if any questions you guys have, then maybe we can get to as well. All right, let's see here. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla is good, man. Tesla's good. Support at 744. Yeah, there's a lot of support happening there. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's see. Again, the market is going to dictate a lot. I mean, look at the drop, guys. Tesla was sitting at 12. I mean, the swings that Tesla goes through, by the way, I mean, it's just it's aggressive, all right? Down to 900, back up to 1200, down to 900, consolidated, down to 700, back up to 1150, down to 745. You know, it's just the swings are wild on this stock. So let's see. And look at the difference. Look at the difference between June 2021, right? And this is after the pandemic. This is not even, this is after pandemic, and November. I mean, just that is insane. Slight increase in volume, not by much, but just the movements on the day is just wild. Man, I don't know how you go from that to this. It doesn't make any sense. Do we have a split? We didn't have a split here, right? There was no split. No, there wasn't. Last split was for $400, I think it was, when we hit 1,000, if I remember correctly. But it's just insane. I mean, it is a completely different stock, guys. Look at this here, right? And then here, after it gets above 900, it just goes mad. It just goes mad. I mean, it's like a different ticker completely. So very, very interesting. Is there another one coming? Have they should be. There should be another one coming. I would not be surprised if they are if they're in the talks of that. Around 2000, then yeah, we'll have to see. It was around 12. Yeah, it was right, but when was that though? Cody? When was that split? I don't recall. It was 1200, right, to 420s. Yeah. I don't recall when it was. Can't remember. But yeah, still, it's such a different stock. All right, guys, let's take a look here at our moderators list. As we were doing this, guys, over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. It does help us out a lot. And if you're enjoying the content, why not, right? Thank you so much for that. Let's go ahead and resize this over here. We'll bring our moderators line up, see what our moderators are looking at this morning. Let's go ahead. Put that there. Very good. And here we go. All right. Excellent. All right. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, let's move this over so we don't block our watch list. There it is. We don't block the watch list, and you guys can still see this with no problem. Excellent. All right, we have Thor with the SPY, Baba, and Lowe's. Also, he's looking at the pivot alert spot over on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, you can definitely follow this here. You get alerts. Dima is looking at TJX, Oxy, AMD, and Apple. Tiffany will be looking at Target, Lowe's, TJX, and a secondary list, Tesla and AMD. No IPOs, no SPACs for today. Peter, AMD, Target, TJX, and secondary is Apple, Neo, and Oxy. Susan will be looking at Neo, AMD, Oxy, and Apple. Megan likes Lowe's, Target, Nvidia, and the SPY overall market. Correction, TJX, not T. All right, so TJ Maxx, not Target. Okay, there we go. So that is Megan's list there. All right, excellent, guys. I think we are all set to start our day here. Our watch is looking pretty decent this morning. We do have Target here with some good volume, and just look at this drop. I mean, this drop is insane. Cannot wait to see how the market open is going to treat this one today. Are we going to have the same reaction Walmart did? Walmart just kept selling off. Or did we account for this in this pre-market already, and now we're going to go sideways and maybe bounce a little bit? We'll have to see how that plays out. And this is after they had a reaction yesterday, right? Their reaction yesterday was to sell off a little bit, right? They gapped down, didn't recover their gap down there, but they did gap down yesterday. Obviously, you cannot compare this to this. It's a big difference, but let's see. Oxy, guys, a lot of movement here, so we'll see how that goes. Has been trading well the last couple of days. AMD is just always fun to have on deck and watch. This morning, good volume, 1.1 million, and they are sitting here again looking pretty good, trying to hold above that 100. The SPY is creating problems for them. Here is Neo, also good movement in the pre-market as well. Beautiful daily. It's been trying to climb out of this, but it's hitting a level of resistance as well here. We're at 1650, and also the SPY overall market is not helping them neither. Here is Apple. Good pre-market activity, guys. I like the way that's moving this morning. Very nice and clean. And then TJX, a few of the stocks that are in the green is TJX. I mean, they're here up 5.7, while everything is bloody red this morning. And Oxy might be joining that list very soon as well. They're dropping down, as you can see. So TJX might be the one that sticks out today, going in the other direction and not following suit. Carlos, do I think that there is a good chance AMD will break through above 102? And yeah, I think so. I think they'll break through 102 if the SPY does not continue to sell. I mean, the AMD needs the overall market to not do what it's doing right now, right? If this thing slams down, AMD has no chance of doing that because it's just they don't have their own catalyst. Yeah, there's some good news about semiconductors, and you see that reaction here, right? That's playing very well. Listen, AMD doesn't want to be down here. AMD wants to break out, absolutely. But the SPY is not helping it. The SPY in the market is just not helping them do that. But these tech companies have been slammed. They're primed, man. They're primed to get going. And the minute there's any kind of positive news in the market, these are the first ones that get going, right? So that's what keep watching them, because the minute there's any kind of bounce, right? We probably will sell off, not probably, because I don't know what's going to happen. But if we do sell off here and then we have one of these aggressive bounces like we usually get in the SPY, look out for Apple, AMD, Nvidia. These guys are going to be the first one to jump on that wagon for a long. So definitely look out for those. All right, guys, 9:15. Brian, I'm not sure if Brian is back, but I know Andrew is here and he's on deck, so he'll be trading live. And we look forward to seeing you guys over on YouTube tomorrow. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up. Thank you for watching, guys. Trade safe. And make sure to follow on the YouTube, because I know Artie and Andrew are usually going live in the afternoon, kind of giving you a recap of the day, the overall market, and any funny stuff that's happening with Elon Musk. We'll definitely discuss there. So if you haven't done so, make sure on YouTube that you're hitting that notification bell and that you're following us there and join us for that session live in the after hours. So take care, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.